Whether an Applebees enjoyer or not, hitting the merge is on the bucket list of the must-dos for all Survivor contestants. It's a round for celebration and enjoyment, until you are completely screwed over. This video will be covering the 5 most questionable merge boots that could have had a deep run if not for some very questionable production decisions. Idols have been a core staple of Survivor since season 11, and the modern version of the idol has been in action since season 14. As a result, many contestants have been idled out of the game, but damn, I feel bad for Kelly. Honestly, Kelly's entire Survivor journey could be best compared to purgatory. The poor girl could not catch a break. She had a bashful bamboo blackout resulting in her getting stitches, ended up on a tribe as the only blue collar, and had to endure 4 rounds of the game with Dan and Rodney. I mean, what heinous crimes has this woman committed in a past life? This curse of being unlucky was yet again present in the merge. Mike threw the previous challenge to save Kelly, and the two were finally reunited. This, alongside the other blue collars plus the others, should have given them the ability to split on the no collars, plus Shireen, right? Enter Will. To say Will had lost trust with the entire previous no-collar tribe would be an understatement. Will had a tendency to flip-flop through the game like a floundering dying fish, so Mike didn't trust him. In case of Will flipping back to his old collars and telling them the plan, he instructed Will to vote Haley as a sign of loyalty. They were correct to fear a no-collar idol play, however, as unbeknown to them, Jen, their target, had it. At Tribal, Jen plays as hidden immunity idol and blocks 7 votes cast against her. Will votes for Haley, and the final 4 votes unfortunately eliminate Kelly. While idols aren't uncommon in Survivor, it is unfortunate seeing a majority that could have split the vote in hindsight, losing one of its core members. As already mentioned with Kelly, she had lots of connections with the majority. Considering her bond with the Rodney, Carolyn, Will contingent, and Mike, there was a strong endgame potential for her, which made her eventual blindside even more brutal. Jeff Varner has appeared in 3 Survivor seasons, but before Cambodia and yeah, he was part of Survivor the Australian Outback. Much like Borneo, the tribes were tied 5-5 coming into the merge, but unlike that season where the concept of voting together wasn't fully realised, it was here. Each tribe wanted another member of the opposing tribe eliminated. Then, more than likely, that tribe would win out. So to say this merge round is important is a complete understatement. It was also a round where Jeff Varner was completely screwed. Prior to this merge, one of the Kucha members, Michael Skupin, fell into the tribe's fire, burning his hands. When I first heard about this story, I felt bad for him, until I realised what Skupin is like in the real world, and now I gotta ask, why was it only the hands? But even further back into the game, it was revealed through cross-tribe communication that Jeff Varner had votes against him. Perhaps the most unfortunate was that this was one of the 2 seasons that used past votes as a tiebreaker, thus putting Jeff Varner in massive jeopardy coming into the merge. So Jeff, you really need to stay up there and win immunity, mate, never mind. Keith won immunity, one of Ogacor's 2 people with votes against them, and the rest of their tribe tried their best to camouflage Jerry. Kucha followed this trajectory and voted for Colby, but all the Ogacor members put their votes onto Jeff. Had this been any other season apart from Australia and Africa, the votes tie resulting in a rock draw. But because 2 contestants put their single votes onto Jeff, he was eliminated. As a result, many individuals in the community feel this aspect of the show was unfair because eliminated contestants impacted the game, and without this twist the Australian Outback could have been completely different. Considering this prior votes tiebreaker rule was overhauled shortly after this season, it's a testament to how raw of a deal Jeff got. On the topic of raw deals, Modern Survivor had a highly controversial twist known as the Hourglass. And for this twist, you guys take your hammer, set your hourglass on standby, and beat the absolute lining out of it. Both Sydney and Lydia from Survivor 41 and 42 respectively were victims of this twist. In both situations, it forced these 2 contestants to be eliminated in situations where they were safe coming into the round. So since both were equally screwed, we'll be talking about them both. In fact, as one of my commenters noted, both Sydney and Lydia were victims to arguably the worst twist in the show's history. Now technically, this round of the game that featured the Hourglass twist isn't the merge. It's part of the quote-unquote earn the merge, a no man's land between the merge and not being part of the merge in Modern Survivor. But considering it's everyone coming together, only to have one round together, to then be split up, And considering the final 12 of the merge, both these women were parts of the initial winning team and were made to feel they had immunity for that round of the game. In Survivor 42, Jeff tried to be more ambiguous with his statements and offered any member of the winning tribe to swap places with Roxroy before he went to Exile Island. So it was a slightly better twist than 41, where he blatantly lied to the cast, but it's only a small improvement of easily one of the worst Survivor twists ever. In Survivor 41, 2 of the Assay 3 were made immune through the Hourglass. The 2 contestants on the outs, Nasir and Evie, both had idol support, meaning only 3 people could be safe votes: Danny, Deshawn, and Sydney. Sydney was well insulated within the majority with strong connections to Danny and Deshawn. Yes, she did misplay by sacrificing her vote, but given she was pissed off at all the production's twists, I don't blame her for going all or nothing. Besides, if she gets the 1 in 6 immunity, things completely change. Lydia, on the other hand, was well situated within the majority 9. This was a group that essentially combined every tribe's majority, and this left Chanel, Tori, plus Marianne on the bottom. The issue was that Chanel were a part of the previous losing tribe that now gained immunity due to the Hourglass smash. This then left Tori, who then, as luck would have it, won individual immunity. With the majority 9 forced to turn on herself, Lydia threw out Jonathan's name because, I mean, the dude is twice the size of a normal human being. Instead, Omar somehow used Lydia throwing out Jonathan's name as a way to turn the vote onto her, where even her close allies Mike and Hai flipped. Considering without all the crazy merge twists in modern Survivor, Sydney and Lydia more than likely make deep runs in their majority contingent, their eliminations were both savage. About that, a solid 50% of Andrew Savage Cambodia arc was seen complaining about being screwed over on the Pearl Islands, and to be honest, he wasn't entirely wrong. The Outcast twist may go down as one of the biggest middle fingers to a cast, potentially, ever. At the final 10 of the game, the 2 tribes of 5 were told that all the contestants they voted out weren't actually voted out of the game, and instead had been living as a separate tribe outside of the game. There's also been various reports claiming this was a last minute twist that initially wasn't even supposed to be part of the season, to them practicing the challenge, and even living in hotels. I don't know, don't shoot the messenger. Nevertheless, because the Outcast tribe beat both Morgan and Drake, each tribe had to vote out a member of their own tribe. This was where Morgan's tribe had the infamous Austin quit, but Drake, on the other hand, voted out Sean. This was massive, as had the traditional merge happened with these 10, Sean very likely flips to the Morgan contingent, giving them the numbers over Drake. Instead, we had Lil returning to the game, and oh boy, she was not happy. Lil felt she was poorly treated by the tribe during her boot episode, and held resentment particularly against Savage. Savage hadn't told Lil she was going home during her boot episode, which deeply hurt her. With that said, I don't blame Savage. A redemption format had never been seen in Survivor at that point. There were no clues towards the Outcast twist, and you should not tell someone they're going home to prevent a scramble. By arguably executing good gameplay, even if it was rough around the edges, it caused Savage to be in hot water. With Burton and Lil returning to the game, we then kicked off the official merge with 10 castaways remaining. This was also a very rushed merge, giving the likes of Savage very limited time to flip the swings. Both Burton and Lil were immune due to being outcast, returning to the game, forcing him to readapt and vote for fair play. In the end, Savage had a strong backing from his original Morgan tribe, but Lil flipped to the Drakes and eliminated him in a 6-4 vote. Savage. No wonder for 12 years Savage was haunted by this experience. With that said, at number 1, we have a person that still to this day, over 15 years later, the community still feels they need a second chance because of how they were robbed. We're talking about Survivor Fiji, infamous for its very fair twists, and Michelle Yee. Coming into the merge, Michelle was very well situated, with strong connections to the majority contingent, consisting of Earl, Yowman, and Cassandra. Considering these 3 made it to the top 4, it's fair to assume if Michelle survived this round, then she would have been incredibly well positioned. The merge of Fiji seemed like this massive game of telephone, with the producers not really seeming sure of what to do. They all met and went to one camp, only to go back to the other camp where everything was destroyed, only to then meet with Jeff where they were split into 2 tribes of 5. This was an awful idea. Michelle was swapped away from all her close allies, her tribe lost the challenge, and then Jeff produced a note. If the entire merge up until this point hadn't been questionable enough, This note kicked the dynamics into overdrive, as the new tribe of 5 wouldn't be able to go back to camp and were immediately sent to tribal council. In Exec Press, Michelle Yee identifies it was this specific element of the merge that screwed her over the most, as she could have feasibly flipped someone if they had more time to talk back at camp. This tribal council also consists of some of Jeff's sloppiest hosting, in my opinion, by essentially getting the contestants to say why they're voting for each other. In spite of all the twists that screwed her, Michelle was eliminated in a mere 3-2 vote, with Dreams as someone that was a notable swing. If even one of these elements were left out of the twist, Michelle likely stays, and if it was a normal 10-person merge, then as Stacey says, the girls survive under the radar, while the men go after each other. Boo was the obvious first boot, and Mookie was blowing up his position with both Dreams plus Edgardo. But let me know what you thought of my list. Did I miss anyone? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video as we approach 3K. If you want more content, check out this video on everything good so far about Survivor 45. Anyway, have a good day, and peace!